Hi everyone, it's the ComicFanMan here coming at you with a very special video. In today's video, we're going to do a top 10 countdown of my favorite Sword and Sorcery figures of 2023. This is my first top 10 countdown, as this is the first year that I've actually been doing figure reviews. And the reason I changed the category from originally I was going to do this as a top 10 MOTU figures, but throughout the year I've had quite a few surprising figures come up that were not strictly MOTU, but definitely fit into the MOTU Masterverse Sword and Sorcery style of figures. So I decided to expand it to encompass some of those figures. Now, again, as these are my personal top 10 countdowns, you know, your opinions may vary, and I would definitely like to hear in the comments what would be your top 10 Sword and Sorcery figures of the year. I know there were also quite a few like really high-end figures that came out this year. But I don't really collect those. I just collect the ones that I can find in retail, stuff that's like, you know, 25 to 30 bucks at the most. But yeah, definitely. I mean, if you have the higher end type figures, definitely leave your top 10 in the comment section down below. All right, so without further ado, let's begin. All right, so at number 10, we have here New Eternia Whiplash. New Eternia Whiplash was great. I love this figure so much. It's really a great callback to the original figure with all of this New Eternia embellishments. This is the one New Eternia figure that I actually left in the New Eternia look because I think this is just a really great upgrade for this figure. So I really love this figure, and he's he's in the center of my most of my battle dioramas, simply because of the way he looks. He can look like an ogre. He has a callback to like Dungeons and Dragons as well as MOTU. So at number 10 we have New Eternia Whiplash. At number 9, we have New Eternia Ram Man. Ram Man was definitely one of my favorite figures in the vintage line. I used to have him. I played with him so much that his spring mechanism actually broke. And, you know, I wasn't sure how New Eternia was going to handle him, but I really loved it. Like, they really went for almost a one-on-one for the art aesthetic of that figure. They added a couple of little embellishments like this spring in the back, but the thing that I loved the most was the fact that they added this button here, which was the launching button from the original Ram Man figure. So New Eternia Ram Man, definitely one of my top 10 figures. I really loved him. It was hard to find a place for him, but I'm comfortable at number 9. Number 9, New Eternia Ram Man. At number 8, we have New Eternia Too Bad. I love this figure. It is a great reimagining of the original figure. It even has some of Mark Taylor's original logos that he was originally did for the original Too Bad design. Mattel did an amazing job on this figure, and I really loved it. All the details, all the wash that they did in the blue side, and all the scaling that they did on the purple side. His weapons getting a reimagining. This pistol, for no reason whatsoever, is great. He has some wash on his trousers. Really a great reimagining of that figure. So I'm really loving this. New Eternia, Too Bad. here we are at number 7 with Manny Faces from New Eternia. This New Eternia Manny Faces was so cool. I love the fact that they recaptured his vintage play pattern. You turn the head, robot, monster, human. And then they added a case with 3 other faces, which was great. This was a great update to that figure. And I am so glad that they redid this guy. He was definitely one of my favorites as a kid. And I'm glad that Mattel actually put it together to get this guy out to us. New Eternia Manny Faces at number 7. All right, here we are at number 6. Now, number 6, we have the New Eternia Buzz-Off figure. I love this figure. This was so cool. This was actually the first figure that I could not wait for, and I actually ordered him from one of the online vendors. All the other figures that I have here, I found in retail, except for Buzz-Off. I could not find this Buzz-Off at retail. And so, and then I also saw on eBay that his prices were going way up, and I didn't understand it. So I went ahead and I ordered him from Walmart, and I got him, and I love this figure. He's such a cool callback to the original Buzz-Off, and that was one of my favorite figures as a kid. And I think they did an amazing job here with this, with his stripes and everything. His detailing is very good. So at number 6, we have Buzz-Off. All right, before I get to my top 5 figures, here's an honorable mention for New Eternia Clawful. I love this figure. He didn't make it on my top 10 list, but it was a real toss-up between him and the bottom 5 figures. Although I have more nostalgia for the bottom 5 figures, that's why they made the list. But this New Eternia Clawful, I love this design. It's pretty amazing. And this shell that they gave him for his back really just kind of knocked it out for me, because he really just gave him a crustacean feel, and he just looks super creepy. Look at his eyes. He's got white pupils in his eyes. That looks very ghostly. So I really love this figure. Even though he did not make my top 10, he's an honorable mention. New Eternia Clawful. All right, here we are with our top 5. At number 5, we have Vikor in all 3 of his forms. Yes, Vikor was definitely a figure that I was looking forward to when Mattel announced him. I couldn't believe it. I was so happy, so thrilled, because I missed out on the classics run of the figures, of a lot of the MOTU figures. That was a different time in my life, so I wasn't collecting at that point. And now the secondary market for the classic figures is it's way too pricey for me. So I'm definitely I'm not in the market for the classics, simply because their pricing is way beyond what I'm looking to spend for this hobby. But Mattel Creations came back and redesigned the Vikor for modern age with modern articulation. And I think they really did a fantastic job with these three outfits. I used, this is a Revelations Gray Skull and a Revelations Faker for the other 2 armors, but these are all Vikor armors. So I count it all as one figure, and he is my number 5 in the Sword and Sorcery genre. Okay, here we are at number 4. And at number 4, we have the McFarlane Fight the Frozen Batman. Yes, this is the first figure that is outside of MOTU, but is still definitely within the Sword and Sorcery genre. and I love this figure. I thought McFarlane did an amazing job with this. And he will appear a little bit differently in another video, because I am also going to do my top quick modifications of 2023 that I did. And basically I made this character into a Conan the Barbarian, and I used the head. The reason why I shaved off the ears is because I used this head to make a Dark Wolf figure, and I'll show that off in another video. But number 4, definitely this Fight the Frozen Batman. He is amazing and I love it, and he fits definitely within my Masterverse diorama. All right, here we go with number 3, the Super 7 Thundercats Mirror Lion-O. I love this figure. He is just amazing looking. He looks exactly like the 80s cartoon Lion-O. And I know the regular Lion-O, obviously, the regular Lion-O is blue, and the Mirror Lion-O, this is sort of his faker. He's in the red. However, you know, the blue Lion-O is like $60, $70 figure. I was able to get this on the Big Bad Toy Store sale for like $27. And this made me so happy. He comes with an alternate head and hand with a grapple. And this is my Lion-O. I'm not going out of my way to go get the blue one when I got this one. The quality is amazing. All of the color apps that they did on it, the slight shading all over his suit, really amazing work by Super 7. I can definitely see why their figures are so expensive, but I am glad to have this in my collection, you know, at a very fair price, and that's kind of what I focus on, because I'm a family man. And I know there's a lot of people who are, you know, in that same kind of situation that can't spend the like $70, $80 on one particular figure. And that's kind of where I want to keep my channel focused on things that's affordable for people, that are still cool. So here we have number 3, Mirror Lion-O from Super 7. All right, here we are at number 2, and you knew he had to be on here somewhere. He is not my number 1, but he is definitely my number 2, strictly on the nostalgia factor alone. This character, when Hasbro announced this, when Pixel Dan released a video to show like what he was gonna look like, and Hasbro started to release the still shots, I could not wait. I ordered this immediately from Amazon. I did have some fear that Amazon was going to cancel it, because I know that they do have a nasty habit of doing that from time to time. But not only was it not canceled, it came in early, because I was a good boy this year. And Santa said, you know what, send it to him. He was due in February, and I got it literally on Christmas Eve. I was so happy with this. This is Crystar from Marvel Legends. He comes from the vintage story arc was the Saga of Crystar. He never got a cartoon. He got an animated commercial, but he never got an official cartoon. He did have a minor comic book run of like 11, 12 issues. But I had all of these figures. I had there were like 3 or 4 different crystal good guys, and 2 molten lava bad guys, and 2 wizards, a good guy wizard and a bad guy wizard. And then they also released a molten lava dragon and a crystal dragon. I had the crystal dragon, and this was an amazing toy line. Unfortunately, it didn't grow the legs of like Masters of the Universe or Thundercats or any of the other Sword and Sorcery type cartoons back in the day. but he was definitely so unique, and he was the perfect size. You can play with him with like almost any size figure. I used them with Dungeons and Dragons, with Tron, with G.I. Joe. It was an amazing figure. Very versatile as far as being able to play with him. So I was so happy when Hasbro released him, and here he is at number 2, Marvel Legends Crystar. All right, here we go at number 1. It is the one and only 40th anniversary He-Man. I know that he came out in 2022 toward the end of the year, but I did not get him until way after that, until this year. So he is on my 2023 list. He is absolutely my favorite MOTU figure. My favorite, he was the beginning for me of all Sword and Sorcery play. Between him and Conan the Barbarian, the 80s was full of fantasy story arcs that were just amazing. His battling with Skeletor seemed like it was going to go on forever. For me as a kid, obviously I can look back on those story arcs and I can see that, they were kind of silly, obviously. But back then, wow, that whole cartoon, that whole genre, everything that was going on at that time really kind of blew my mind. Now, I have seen people complaining about the fact that, the way this He-Man looks, but I don't get it. I really don't get it. Like, as far as I'm concerned, yes, this is much more cartoony than the Masterverse figures, but this proportion here is a much better proportion as far as stylistic wise to his vintage figure. His vintage figure is obviously all out of proportion, so I didn't understand any of those complaints. And also there were some complaints that, he didn't have any paint wraps on the axe and the shield and the sword, but it's like, they were trying to make it look like the vintage figure, and I think they succeeded. He looks exactly the same as the vintage figure. Even the weapons, it's a little bit updated. I mean, there's chips and wear and tear, but they wanted it to look like the vintage figure, and I think they did an amazing job making it look like the vintage figure. And his face is a 1-for-1. Like, how could you complain about this He-Man face when it's, pretty much on the nose? This one was definitely, of all the He-Men that were released this year, this one was definitely my favorite. And of all the MOTU figures, like, I was totally gonna skip out this New Eternia and Revelations line of figures, simply because I did not like the Revelation miniseries. But as soon as I saw this, I started collecting immediately, and I think that's what Mattel wanted to do. They released this figure shortly after the Revelation series, and I think that was amazing plan to help them get the product line back up to snuff. And I'm pretty sure his sister would be very, very proud of him now. She-Ra, Princess of Power, the sister of He-Man, and she had a very successful cartoon. Unfortunately, Netflix did not do so well with Revelations, but the CGI cartoon I actually really liked for the story. I wasn't so into the art because I'm not a big fan of Fortnite, but the story was amazing. So, if they can find a way to incorporate that story, that group of writers with the team of Powerhouse, hopefully Revolution will be on that level of good. I am still holding out that it's going to be a good show. But in any case, this is my number 1 figure of 2023. He-Man, the most powerful man in the universe. bringing us back to the Sword and Sorcery glory of the 1980s. I hope you enjoyed this look at my top 10 figures of the year, and look forward to the next video, and I will see you there. If you like this style of video, please give me a like and subscribe, and as that will help grow the channel, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you. Have a great day. Bye-bye.